Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to the third quarter of the year. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh, y'all. It is literally the third quarter of the year. It is July 1st, 2024. I'm sitting here like, dog, it was literally January just a few short months ago. But hey, we are here. It is July 1st. Welcome to the third quarter of the year. I am Dr. JaNee Mobley. I'm affectionately known as Dr. JaNee, and I help women who love God take the gift that He has given them and turn it into a profitable business, all while helping you and them to shift their mindset and overcome mindsets that prevent them from profit, purpose, and progress. So, welcome. Welcome to Transformational Mondays. Transformational Mondays is all about me providing you all with transformational tips to transform your life and your business so that, of course, it's all about renewing our minds so that we will be transformed. So the tips that I provide you all have the goal of renewing your mind. So look, let's go. Let's go. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you text this link to about 2 or 3 people. If you know somebody who's really ready to finish the year strong, finish the year amazing, finish the year refreshed, let's chime on in. So let's talk about this. Okay. So it's the third quarter of the year. And one of the things I actually shared this message on Friday at the Entrepreneur Refresher that was hosted here in the city that I live in. And the goal was to provide everybody with the 3 tips so that we can not only finish the year strong, but in a way that we don't feel so bogged down, so drained, so just done. Because here's the thing, in entrepreneurship, you are, especially if you are what's known as a solopreneur or you're self-employed, you are the one who's literally starting this business. So a lot of the times, people who are solopreneurs are the ones who are responsible for generating income in the business, responsible for managing the finances, responsible for booking appointments, responsible for all of these things. And one thing that I truly understand is that it can lead to burnout. So this is not a part of the tips, but you can write this down. Understand that God always gives us a vision that's always bigger than us. And one thing that I truly understand, like literally on an even greater level, is that if the vision is only enough for you to implement, in my belief, it's not a God vision. Right? God never does anything small. He always does things big. He always does things huge. So if you are literally building your business and your goal is to focus on building your business by yourself, baby, it's time to come up. Let's raise your way of thinking. So good evening, y'all. Welcome. Come on in. So let's cover the 3 tips. I hadn't even gotten to them, but I had to say that because a lot of the times people say things like, well, it won't get done right unless I do it myself. And I truly understand. Hi, Michael. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I'm so grateful that you all are here. Yes, I have a business. I explained it at the beginning. So we're going to get started about how you can definitely take these 3 tips and implement them. So let's go. So tip number 1. If you already don't have a why, I want you to create a why. This is the first tip. So you're going to either create a why if you don't have one, or if you already have a why, you're going to revisit your why. What is a why? One thing that I truly understand, and I know, is being a believer, and I'm going to note this, that I'm a believer of Jesus Christ. I believe that God created Jesus Christ for the remission of my sins. Okay, so a lot of the things that I share are based on the Bible. So one of the things that I truly understand about God is that He's very strategic. He's very, very much intentional about everything that He does, right? He never does anything haphazardly. And one thing that I understand about that is the Bible tells us, for those of us that believe in Him and are saved, is that we're made in His image and in His likeness, which lets me know that I have a lot of God's personality. I have a lot of His demeanor. I have a lot of who He is if I'm made in His same way. Right? So if God is intentional, if God is strategic, that means me as an individual, I am strategic, right? You as a believer are intentional, and you should be about everything that you do. One of the things that the scripture tells us is that God knows the end from the beginning. And if you look at the world, right, a lot of the things that the world does is modeled after the word of God. When you look at a lot of businesses have literally, they are very prospective, right? They're very, very prospective. So one of the things that they look at, thank you, y'all. One of the things that they look at is they look at what they want to accomplish for that particular year. And one of the things that they do is they work from the end all the way back to the start, right? So one of the things that I want you to look at as a visionary and someone who is made in the image and likeness of God is that you have to understand is that you have to identify why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you here? Who are you here to serve? How are you going to serve them? In what capacity? What solution do you provide to make someone's life better? What solution do you provide that develops an individual, that makes them better, that makes their life easier, that makes their life smoother? Right? And why are you in business? And here's the thing. I want you to think deep. A lot of the times the goal is, yeah, we want to make money, but the real question is, what are you going to do with the money? And not money just to pay bills. Remember, God never does anything small. So anything that he has given you will grow huge if you stay on the right track, if you remain consistent, if you remain faithful, right? So you have to ask yourself, what am I going to do when I make the amount of money that I desire to make? Who do you want to take care of? Is it a grandparent? Is it a parent of yours that you want to make sure that you provide for? Is it your children? Is it to leave a legacy? Is it so that you become the first millionaire in your family? Why are you doing what it is that you're doing? Remember, we have to be intentional. We have to remain focused, okay? So if you don't already have a why, I challenge you, I encourage you to sit down and ask yourself these questions, okay? What am I going to do with the money that I desire to make? So let's just say your goal is to make $1 million, right? What are you going to do with the money? Who are you going to help? What are you going to support? What organizations, what institutions are you going to donate to that are going to make the world a whole lot better? It's not just about making the money, but it's about what you're going to do with the money that you possess. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. So if much is given to you, you have to understand that there's going to be more that is required of you. I love the fact that you want to invest in helping your family and your charity. And I love the fact that you said invest, because one thing about investing and giving, there are two different things. When we invest in something, we expect to see a return on our investment. So if your goal is to invest in your family, if your goal is to share with the homeless, God gave us, he charged us to take care of the poor. And I love that. That is your why. That's why you are building a business. This is why you are moving forward in your purpose. It's not just about you, but it's about what you're going to do to serve to serve the people that God has called you to serve. So make sure you're clear about that. Number two, what do you want? You have to ask yourself this question. What do you want to achieve this year before the year is out? Ask yourself that question. If you want to drop it in the comments, feel free. What do you want to achieve this year? Matter of fact, let's make this certain. What will you achieve this year? Right? So let's just say, as an example, you already have a business, whether it's making a lot of money or no money. You can always start over. So how much money do you want to make this year? Right? And if you are serving customers and clients, how many customers and clients does that equate to? Be real clear. So identify what you want to achieve. Remember, we are strategists. We are made in the image and likeness of God for those of us who are believers. And everything that God did was good and very good. Have an amazing day, and thank you for joining me. Right? I appreciate you all. The link at the bottom is my free gift to you. It's the 5 mistakes that women make that prevent them from profiting from their purpose. So make sure you click the link below and make sure you get access to that. Right? So you have to answer the question for yourself is, what do I want to achieve? A lot of the times we get up haphazardly saying, hey, this is what we want to do. But at some point you got to get real clear and concise about what you want to achieve. People who are acquire some level of success, they are very intentional about what they want to accomplish. God was intentional when he created Jesus to be the sacrifice for our sins. Right? He was intentional. If we look at the book of Esther in the way that it was all thought out, right? I can't even begin to think about how Esther, who was somebody who was a maid, was chosen to be the queen to deliver and help her people. Remember, God is strategic and we're made in his image and likeness, and we have to see ourselves in the way that he sees us. A lot of the challenges that people have is not the ability of making money and being successful. It's all about the way that they see themselves. One of the prayers that I always have for myself and those that I care about is, God, help us to see ourselves in the way that you see us. Help us to truly see ourselves as being made in your image and in your likeness. Because you got to understand who he compared us to. He compared us to himself. Right? So number 1 in review is create your why if you don't have one. And then the second one is identify what you want to accomplish before the end of this year. And you can even relate this to your health. You can relate this to your relationships. What do you want to do before this year is out? Many of you all are working very hard on your jobs and you're doing all of this stuff day to day. And the realization of it is that life is passing by. Time is moving, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. But if you're not intentional in ensuring that you accomplish the very things that you desire to, and most importantly, the things that God has called you to, guess what? It will not happen. You got to be intentional. You have to, because other than that, life will pass you by. I have this mantra, and I'm saying this literally, is that it got to be more than this. I live a very blessed life. I am grateful for the blessings that God has bestowed upon me, but I serve a God who's so much bigger than what I already have. You're looking at a woman who was pregnant, literally sleeping in the car with her husband while he stayed up to make sure that nobody robbed us. We slept in our car overnight because we did not have a home of our own. He's the same God who ensured that not only did we move into a place of our own, but the very house that we moved into, we ended up purchasing. Right? So you got to be intentional about everything it is that you are doing. Remember, your life means something great, but if you don't know it, who else will know it? Okay. Number 3, and this is one of the biggest things. This is one of the biggest things that you have to keep in mind. In order for you to stay focused and accomplish the things that you desire to, certain things and people you're going to have to say no to. And let me tell y'all something. For a lot of people, that's a hard pill to swallow. Because people ask of you, they request of you, they want you to do things for them. And it's hard to tell people no. Right? Hey, love, how are you, Pastor Macon? It's good to see you. Right? So you have to make sure, again, going back into intentionality, if we look at ourselves and being made in his image and his likeness, and this may sound crazy, but God wasn't distracted. God was very clear. Remember, we're made in his image and in his likeness. So if I'm made like him and in his image, then I should carry the same characteristics. So certain things and people you're going to have to say no to. Certain opportunities you're going to have to say no to. You're going to have to say no to. In order for you to accomplish the goal, number 2, that you have set out to do and accomplish before the end of this year, and I'm gonna help you with this. People do not value your time unless you teach them to value your time. And the only way they will value you and your time is when they see and observe that you value your time. I'm going to give you an example. If you've ever gone to see a lender, a loan officer requested funds, those people in those companies are very, very systematic and they're clear on their end goal. So when you come in there, they know exactly what questions they need, what questions they need for you to answer, and they need for you to answer them as soon as they ask you to or at that very moment, right? What do you understand? They value their time. Because people, if you understand, time is one of our most valuable assets that we have. It's one thing that we can't get back. We can't buy it back. So you have to value your time, and you then have to teach other people to value your time. How do you do that? Well, if somebody comes to ask of your time, then you have to assess whether what they're asking of you is in alignment with what your goals are and what you're supposed to be doing. If it's not, then it's an easy no. So I'll give you an example. For me, I'm a wife and I'm a mom, right? And of course, my family is very important, okay? But I have specific times that I have to work on my business. So I have to communicate that to my family, even to our children, because I have to teach them. This is what mommy is trying, what mommy will accomplish, what wife will accomplish, and this is the time that I have set aside to make sure that I get it done. Even if you're let's say you're working on a project. Thank you for writing those notes in there. Right? So let's say you're working on a project. You value your time. If somebody calls you, guess what? You don't have to answer the phone. Neither do you have to respond to a text message. And it's crazy how distraction works, because the goal is to get you off course from what you're supposed to be doing. People feel so pressured to respond. The great thing about emails, the great thing about text messages is that you are not in my face. So I can respond to you as soon as I have the ability and the time to respond to you. You got to value your time. You got to value your time so much. And I say this, there's nothing wrong with scrolling on social media. Let's make that clear. Because I'll scroll every now and then, right? Like I'll scroll. But I want you to think about this. For those of you all who are purpose-driven and who are entrepreneurs, you want to make sure that as people are scrolling, and even as you are scrolling, you're seeing your content. Because here's the thing, people buy, right, based on the things that they see and how frequent they see it. Why do you, and this is off topic, but I just wanted to drop this in here. It's not by chance that you see the same exact ad that you clicked on one time, or the same exact ad that you focused on for a few seconds. Make sure that you value yourself and your time and your purpose and your gift so much that as people are scrolling, they see your content. Right? So let's review that. Number 1, if you don't have a why already, how do you refocus and recharge so that you can finish this year strong? Number 1, if you have a why, revisit it. And I challenge you to go deeper. Ask yourself, what will you do with all of that money? What will you do with the financial blessing that God gives you? Who will you help? What will you do for yourself? Okay? Because it's more than just the money. It's about what you can and will do with the money. The money just gives you access. The money is a resource. Number 2, identify what your goal is. What do you want to accomplish in your business before this year is out? How much money do you want to make? If that's the case, what does that equate to in clients? I know when I work with my clients, we work from the end. Just as God did, he knows the end from the beginning. So what is your ultimate goal? What do you want to get done? And let's work from the goal backwards to identify what you need to do to get you closer to accomplishing that goal. This is what we do. The more clear you are, the greater the likelihood of you accomplishing the goal. One of the things that I understand is if that I can see it clearly. What you ask, I don't know how to pronounce your name and I really don't want to jack it up. So what is your, what are you asking how about? How what? Okay. And make sure you give me a complete question so that I know what I'm addressing. If I'll address it. Right. So, and number 3, last thing is identify what and who do you need to say no to. If it's not in alignment with your goal and what you need to be doing, then 9 times out of 10, it should be a no. Will you do this? Does it align with what I'm supposed to be doing at this moment in time? Now, sure, if you have spare time and you just want to say yes to something, sure. But then you have to ask yourself the question, is this in alignment with what I'm going to be doing? When opportunities come my way, I have to ask myself those questions. Because over the years, I say yes to things and people that I shouldn't have been saying yes to. And guess what? It wasted my time. And it only drew people to me who were trying to waste my time once again. Again, if you don't value your time, how do you expect other people to respect your time, to respect you, and to value your time? You only teach them how to waste something that you can't buy back. Okay? So, I didn't see the complete question. I apologize. If you put it in there, maybe I can go back and address it. But if you all haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you all. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you click the link below and get access to the 5 mistakes that women make that prevent them from profiting from their purpose. And as always, remember to know your worth. Good night, y'all. See you next time. Bye.